But I went with the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 10. Now, this is an interesting one here, and I think I'm going to get some pushback on it. Totally understand. It's a little out there, but I think the Steelers are better than a lot of people think. When you look at their draft, they aced it. It was probably the best draft of anybody.
Yeah.
Khan did an incredible job in his first draft, taking over for Colbert, who was the former GM for years. They go out, they get Broderick Jones. So, they made that trade up. They got him. They got Joey Porter Jr., they got Herbig, they got Benton, they got Darnell Washington. So I really loved their draft. And I think they just got a hell of a lot better, and they were already a pretty damn good team. When you look now, you have Benton, Hayward, and Ogunjobi in the interior. Not to mention they also have Montravius Adams and Leal, who they got last year. You have T.J. Watt. You have Alex Highsmith. You're going to have Joey Porter Jr. with Levi Wallace, with Minka Fitzpatrick, with Keanu Neal. You also have Patrick Peterson, who you signed. The offensive line doesn't seem like it's going to be as much of an issue with Broderick Jones. You go out and you sign Isaac Sumalo. You're going to have opportunities to, get the best out of your offensive line. And are they going to stick with a quarter for a right tackle? I don't know, but there are a lot of options there in that offensive line room. You go out and you get Allen Robinson. You have Calvin Austin, who we just talked about it with Travis Etienne. Like, he missed an entire year. Like, that last year was his rookie year. I feel like Calvin Austin is going to look at it like this year's his rookie year. And, he's going to be that power fourth receiver where he doesn't have to start, but he's going to give him an extra gear that I don't think any of them are going to have in Allen Robinson, George Pickens, and Deontay Johnson. So when you look at all of that, Kenny Pickett going into year two, showing you at the end of the last season, just the level his play goes to in crunch time. I think they're going to be in a lot of close games. They got a very, very tough conference that they're playing in. And honestly, they're playing in the best division in football, in my opinion, this year. I think the AFC North is going to be absolutely ridiculous. You have Najee Harris to run the ball. I think he's going to have a bounce back year this year. I like Jalen Warren. Overall, I just think this team is really good. And they may not be the team that you immediately think of. And I think there are a lot of people that are like really reluctant to give, Kenny Pickett praise since he didn't have the best year. But it's what I saw down the stretch that leads me to believe Kenny Pickett with an improved offensive line, weapons, and a good defense, they're going to be a top 10 team this year.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the Steelers, they make it to the playoffs every year, right? They make it to the playoffs every year. So you mentioned the draft, probably like I said, one of the better drafts. I mean, I just remember after covering the Steelers draft, how energized I was. I mean, Joey Porter Jr., like that story is, of course, like the top two story from that draft. We talk about the Dallas Cowboys with that, with Deuce Vaughn, that being a great story. But Steelers, they crushed it in the draft and they get better. Jake, you mentioned just the depth that they have now at that defensive line position, the defensive back position. So they're going to create some turnovers. And when it comes to, Kenny Pickett, he has some weapons. We talked about Allen Robinson coming from the Rams. I feel like the Steelers won that trade. So they did a great job on the front on that pickup. They did a great job on the front end of the draft and then, propelled themselves in the second end of the draft. So Steelers, they're looking dangerous, Jake. I think Kenny, hopefully he can come along and, like you mentioned, figure his way out throughout this season.